So Arsenal play Brentford in 2 days, but there's a massive piece of information that I don't see many people talking about. David Raya can't play in goal for this game. Now Ramsdale's a brilliant keeper, but it will no doubt affect the way we play, affect the way we approach this game, and it will certainly affect the way Arsenal get them quick attacks going. And we're just going to speak about the game in general, what we need to look out for in terms of Brentford, what I think the team's going to be, but also how this affects us in the game on Tuesday against Porto. So let's get into it. But before we do me the favour, if you enjoy this type of content, do me a favour and just give me a thumbs up on this video. It helps me massively. So the Raya Ramsdale saga is something that's dragged on all season. It's gone very quiet in the last couple of weeks and maybe past couple of months, to be fair. And that's only because David Raya has played so well. You know, at the beginning of the season when David Raya was making the mistakes, the issue of who should be the goalie was a lot more obvious than it is now. David Raya has been fantastic this season. You know, many of us wouldn't have made that change. We've made it clear, but now that we have, would I go back to Ramsdale? Personally, no. And I'm not sure who's the better goalkeeper, but I think David Raya definitely suits the way that Arsenal play, and is seen with the way that David Raya does start attacks. So it'll be interesting to see if we do lose that when Aaron Ramsdale comes in. We've seen so many times how good David Raya is at coming out and claiming the ball. So confident. Ball gets whipped in. David Raya comes out, claims it confidently, and then starts Arsenal on their attacks. So I'm looking forward to see if Ramsdale can do that, and if not, what he can offer in terms of playing out from the back. You know, we all considered Ramsdale a good ball-playing goalkeeper. If I'm looking at Raya, he's also a good ball-playing goalkeeper. But so it'd be interesting to see if there is any drop-off when Aaron Ramsdale comes in. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think Aaron Ramsdale is going to be able to play the same way that David Raya does? Or do you think he maybe offers us something a little different? Let me know. So if I'm looking at this game, you know, I'm looking and Arsenal have the best defensive record. So I'm hoping that continues with Ramsdale in goal. But Brentford definitely have a couple of good players that we need to look out for. We know how good Toney is. Arsenal have been linked with him all season. A lot of people think Toney's the answer in getting Arsenal to that next level. Me, I'm not convinced. I mean, Saturday, will be a good chance to have a look at Toney just to see what he can still offer. Before the break, he was incredible. You know, you have to give a player that's that good credit, but ever since he's come back, I think maybe he's still finding his feet. Maybe he's still getting up to match sharpness, because I haven't seen the same calibre of player that I saw before Toney took that extended break. So I'm interested to see how Toney does play, but Mbuemo as well. He's been out for a part of the season with injury, and it's said that he's going to be back for this Arsenal game, so he's probably not going to be match fit. But Mbuemo is a very dangerous player. We saw for last season, I think it was, at one point, he was very close to leading the top scorer of the season charts, or obviously behind Haaland, but he was right up there in terms of top scorers. So he is a very dangerous player. Like I said, I'll be surprised if he starts, but the fact that they're going to have him as an option to bring off the bench, you know, it's definitely something Arsenal need to look out for. Now, with Arsenal's defensive record, we're more than capable of doing it. But, you know, we do have to be careful, and there definitely are things to bear in mind, because this is a team, in their last game, they drew with Chelsea 2-2. Now, Chelsea are not as good as Arsenal, but, you know, a draw against Chelsea is still a good result, because Chelsea do have some good players, whether they're playing well together or not yet. You know, a 2-2 draw against them is still a good result. And they played Man City a few games ago as well, and the score in that was 1-0. Man City scored in like the 70th minute. So Man City only beat them 1-0, and they had to rely on a late goal from Haaland to secure that win. So Brentford will not be a rollover. I've been predicting in so many of my videos that Arsenal are just going to roll teams over. For some reason, something's telling me this game might be slightly different. You know, Arsenal are riding the crest of a wave. We've been sweeping aside, battering every single team we've come across. For some reason, something's telling me this game might not be the same as that. Now, I'll give you my score prediction in a minute, but I do think for some reason that this Brentford team will be hard to break down. I think they are going to sit in deep. You know, in previous seasons, Arsenal have struggled against the low block, but this season we haven't been. We saw in the last game, Arsenal was, you know, systematically broke it down, found gaps, found spaces, and that is because we played so high. I think if we play that high against this Brentford team, with the likes of Toney up front and Mbuemo, especially if he comes off the bench or even if he starts, that's where I think Arsenal might have problems. Sheffield United and Brentford are two very different teams. So I think we're going to have to approach the game slightly differently. I think we're going to have to sit slightly deeper. Now, Arsenal are still going to want to be on the front foot and pressing the game and really attacking Brentford's goal. But I don't think the defenders are going to be able to be really far in their half like I said, because they do have such a good outlet in Ivan Toney. But the other thing that interests me is what will Mikel Arteta do with his team? You know, of course, you want to put your best team out, but we have got one of the biggest games in Arsenal's recent years coming up on Tuesday. We're playing Porto in the last 16 of the Champions League after they beat us 1-0 in the first leg. So we want to have our best team available. So I'm going to tell you what team I would pick. It wouldn't necessarily affect this game, but it's definitely something we need to bear in mind for that game on Tuesday. And for that reason, for the team against Brentford, I think we're going to go Aaron Ramsdale, because we have to. Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba and Kiwior. I don't think you touch the back line. Declan Rice, Jorginho, Odegaard. I don't think you touch the midfield. And in terms of attack, very much the same. I think we're going to go Saka, Martinelli and Havertz. This is where I need people's opinions. We saw Partey come in the last game, but do you throw him straight back into the starting 11 in a game like this against Brentford? I'll tell you what I'm going to do in a minute, but let me know in the comment section. Would you throw Jesus straight back in? And would you throw Thomas Partey back in? I'm going to let you know why I wouldn't. Of course I want these players available, especially Partey. I think I've said in a previous video that I would prefer for Partey to be back at full fitness right now before Jesus. And Jesus is a brilliant player. He can offer so much. But I think in terms of a bench option, Jesus would be brilliant if we're sort of struggling to break a team down and we need a different look for the last 30 minutes. You bring Gabriel Jesus on and he can just go and work his magic. But Thomas Partey, I think if he can sit at the base of that central midfield position, just dictate play, just clean up balls. So that's why I played Jorginho in this game to start. And I think you bring Thomas Partey on for sort of 30 or 40 minutes, hoping to get him fit for that game against Porto. You know, in my opinion, we need to have a Declan Rice, Thomas Partey and Martin Odegaard midfield free for that game against Porto. I think that's the most important midfield that we've been able to put out. Certainly the best midfield we've been able to put out in a long time. But let me know your thoughts. Do you start Partey in this game or do you leave him on the bench, bring him on, hoping to get him available for that Porto game? And like I said, in terms of Gabriel Jesus, listen, he's a brilliant player, but Havertz is on fire at the minute. I definitely start Havertz again in this game because he's more than good enough to go and get some more goals. Havertz has been brilliant this season. He's outscored or out-exceeded people's expectations for sure. You know, there's stats going around online of Havertz outscoring all these players. Jack Grealish, Doku, so many players, even strikers. So I leave Havertz as a striker. And if he manages to get himself a goal in this game, I stick him as a striker again in that Porto game. Jesus, for me, is really going to have to try and earn his space back. And that's difficult for me to say because even if you asked me a couple of months ago, I would have said, no, look, as soon as Jesus is available, you bring him back in for Havertz because Jesus is our best striker. But I've seen a different side to Havertz in these last few months, and it's really impressed me. Havertz, it may be the striker that we need, especially that finish that he done in the last game. You know, before the last game, the things that impressed me with Havertz was basically his movement. But when he scored that goal in the game just gone, it really showed me something different about Kai Havertz. We've seen him miss one-on-one chances recently, but he didn't miss that one. He stuck it right in the bottom corner. Such a confident finish. So if he can continue that confidence into this game against Brentford and he can get himself another goal, Havertz may be the answer to Arsenal's striking problems. We shall see. There's obviously another big game coming up on the weekend, and it gives Arsenal a chance to put the pressure on Liverpool and Man City. That is a massive game. Let me know your thoughts. If you could pick a perfect result for that game against Liverpool and Man City, what would you go for? You know, a lot of people would say a draw would be the best option, and I understand that because they're both dropping points. But in my opinion, I think Man City are more capable of winning the league. So for that reason, I actually want Liverpool to win this game because I think they're going to slip up further down the road. Now, listen, I totally understand if people say draw, but I just think City, you know, they have that X factor. They have that something different. But with Liverpool, I think they're ultimately going to run out of steam towards the end of the season. You can never bank on it. So that's why it's definitely a risky move of saying I want Liverpool to win this game. But that's just my opinion. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right. But let me know your thoughts. If you could pick a winner in this game, or would you actually go for a draw? Let me know in the comment section. So thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go though, do me the favour, just give me a like on this video and subscribe. And I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.